Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this episode. In this episode, I want to be talking about how you can reclaim your power, how you can be an authority of your own life, and also clarify what that really means. So we're going to jump straight in. So I'm going to go into the topic of power, of victimhood. What's the differences? What does it mean to reclaim your power? What does that look like? How can you incorporate that into your daily life? And make it easier for you to feel like you're in the driver's seat of your life. So let's look at the opposite first. What does it feel like when you're not in the driver's seat of your life? When you feel like you're a leaf in the wind, when you feel like you have no control, when you feel like things are just happening to you and you're at the expense of it. You are a victim to life. So it could be like maybe you got fired from your job, or maybe your partner broke up with you, or maybe there was a massive financial loss, or maybe there was, any sort of quote unquote negative occurrence that happened in your life, and it made your frequency drop. It made you feel sad, made you feel disappointed, made you feel maybe frustrated, made you feel like giving up. All of these emotions naturally arise, of course. It's not to say that there's something wrong with us when we experience the whole range of emotions. But after a little while of sitting in despair and hopelessness, we kind of get tired and we want to get out of that, right? So how do you do that? What does it look like to take your power back? Well, there's many different ways to step into your own authority, to step into your own power of your life, to become the deliberate creator of your life. And one of the most impactful ways, most powerful ways to step into your power is to take full ownership and responsibility. That everything that happens to you from a high level is even your choice. So when your partner broke up with you, you agreed to that reality. When you lost your job, you agreed to that reality, because everything that you are experiencing from a higher level, you are choosing and agreeing with. And it can feel like, no, the small self goes, I don't want to experience that. But from a higher level, you're choosing it. So with that perspective, when anything that happens to you, if you have the perspective of like, okay, I am agreeing to this reality. There's a part of myself that is in agreement with this reality, because or else it wouldn't be happening. So that means on some level, whatever's happening serves you on some level. From a higher perspective, you knew that you had to experience this in order to grow, in order to become a better person, in order to learn, in order to gain knowledge, in order to gain wisdom. And a lot of times, the hardship that we experience in life, later on, you probably have lots of experiences in life that were really challenging and you wanted to give up on everything. But when you look back, you have the perspective of, wow, actually, I'm really grateful that happened to me, because now I am where I am and I know what I know. So if you remember that every time you go into a challenge, or every time you are agreeing to a challenge taking place in your life, it takes the pressure off a little bit. And it gives you a little bit more of deliberate control. So instead of spending a whole month in bed crying, maybe you'll spend 2 days instead, depending on the situation. So again, this is not about dismissing feelings. This is not about being happy all the time. Not at all. If you're experiencing anger, feel that anger. If you're experiencing disappointment, feel that disappointment, because there's information in those feelings. But we don't want to hang around in those feelings forever. When we've gathered the information, okay, then what? Move on. What did you learn? What did you, get from the situation that benefited you? And it's once you find the golden nuggets, once you realize what it is that you're learning from the situation, that's when you can move on and make progress. So it's a very common thing that when something quote unquote bad happens to us, our energy field shrinks. We feel disempowered. We feel weak. We feel like there's nothing we can do. Sometimes, depending on the severity of the challenge. Some small challenges can actually motivate us. But if it's really, really, really big challenges, then you can feel knocked off. So it can take a little bit of time then to get that energy back. And usually what gets that energy back is being able to see some sort of even the tiniest little light at the end of a tunnel. And sometimes in the worst of circumstances, it just feels like there is no light at the end of a tunnel. And that's when you have zero energy and you don't feel bothered to do anything. There's no point even getting up. There's no point eating. There's no point hanging out with your friends. There's no point doing anything because it feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So from a human perspective, whatever looks like a light at the end of the tunnel from an egoic personality perspective is usually things like I will have positive experiences again, I will have a happy relationship again, I will have financial success, I will have a connection and comfort with friends, and sometimes just I will kind of feel happy again and not have to worry about things. So these are all of the worries and the desires from a smaller self perspective. But when all of those feel eliminated from your life, what do you do? How do you get out of that pit of despair? And that's when we have to zoom out, get out of the needs and the desires from the personality structure. Not that there's anything wrong with them. They serve us on a massive level. It's wonderful to have great relationships. It's wonderful to make money. It's wonderful to have all of these things. But if all of that is eradicated from your life, then it's time to zoom out. Zoom out from this one lifetime. Because this is just one lifetime. This human experience is transient. This human experience is temporary. And you're going to be popping back into Source after this life and hang out with everyone there anyways. So when everything feels like it's against you, when everything feels like everything's just, shit's hitting the fan, no motivation, there's no light at the end of the tunnel, you can remember that beyond this human experience, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And this is not to encourage suicide. This is not to encourage ending this life. This is just to encourage taking the pressure off and relaxing a little bit. Because once you remember that, you know what, I'm actually choosing all of these experiences. You know what, everything is happening for me and for my growth, even though when it feels like it's crushing me, it's just making me stronger. Everything is happening for my evolution, for my ascension. And I actually have a massive network of souls all around the world, all around in the universe, who are connected here with me, and we're all doing this together. We have all of these contracts together, and we're playing this game here. It's a physical reality game. So when we remember that, and we zoom out, and we remember you have lifetimes of lifetimes and you have thousands of more lives to experience. You're not just going to experience this life and pop into some black hole and disappear forever. Some people believe that, but we have so much information now from near-death experiences. People have done lots of, quantum science studies, not just woo-woo experiences, but there's a lot of information now that validates that, there's more beyond this human experience, and there is a continuation of Source. There's a continuation of existence that we are all a part of beyond the human short-lived experiences. So when we remember that, and when we remember that, okay, the human experience is challenging. We signed up for the challenges. That's this realm, polarity, contrast, growth, expansion through contrast. You signed up for it. So it's kind of like, when a soldier signs up or a person signs up to go to the military, because of the intention of having signed up for it, the choice, they chose it, they have more strength in them. Yeah, they go through extremely challenging situations, but it's that integrity of the choice. I chose this. I chose to be here. I signed up for this. That gives them strength. And it's the same with you in this lifetime here. You chose this life. You chose these experiences, and you're continuing to choose these experiences. And when you are in the seat of choice, that's when you have power. Because every single day is a sequence of choices. Every choice you make determines the next timeline that you go on, and there's an infinite potential of timelines. Do you go out for that coffee shop or this coffee shop? Oh, in that coffee shop you bumped into that person and now he's suddenly talking about business and you have a new business idea. Do you pick up your laundry in the morning or in the evening? And then you bump into different people and you have different kind of conversations. It's all of these different situations that take place based on your choices. So remembering that you are in the driver's seat, you are choosing all of your experiences, you are even choosing your challenges, then you are more empowered. And when you remember that and you start to feel that, even just that small perspective shift will totally change your energy and your frequency. And that's when the life source energy can start to fill back into your body, and you will stop feeling lethargic, you will stop having lack of motivation, and you will start to actually sense this current of energy starting to come back into your body. And it's not about being super motivated all the time. Motivation, I always say motivation is fleeting. Persistence and determination is consistent. Remembering that you are choosing everything is allowing that energy, the source energy, to start to flow back into your body. And you also start to relax a little bit more and go, okay, I am with me through my entire life, and I am choosing all of my experiences. Let's see, what is the next step? And if you're really, really down, the next step could just be like, let me call a friend and just share what I'm going through. Or the next step could be, let me just have a shower, make myself look decent, go out into the world a little bit, and just engage with reality. Or the next step could be, if you're a little bit higher up in the energy level, could be addressing a problem and actively doing something about it. Actively doing something about your financial situation. Actively doing something about your relationships. Actively doing something about your health. And when you take that active action, that's when you start to have real ripple effects into the universe. And the universe will start to speak back to you and reflect back to you that, you see, you are in power. You are in control. So I just want to give you these little perspective shifts, because life isn't always easy, and it's not supposed to be always easy. That's not what we signed up for. So I also want to eradicate all of this illusion and all of this social media nonsense that we see, or it's all about just being happy all the time. Everyone should just be happy all the time, have lots of money all the time, experience no dips in our emotional scale, and just be persistently stable like that. It's just such an unrealistic reality. Like that's not how it is here. Like, we came here for the twists and the turns and the plots. This is a movie. You wouldn't go to the cinema and watch a movie about a couple who just sits in a restaurant and they're just happy and they're just having a good time, and then they go home and then they go to sleep, and that's it. That's so boring. So your life is like a movie. You came here for the twists and the turns and the plots and the excitement and the surprises that you're choosing from a higher perspective. So it's not about actively, inviting in more negative contrast, but it's about stepping into reality and seeing the challenges in your life as opportunities for growth, as opportunities for more experience, as opportunity for expansion, as opportunity for you to realize more of who you really are. So how fun is that, So whenever you are in those moments where you're like, ooh, life feels like it's really squeezing me right now, just remember that you are squeezing yourself for your own evolution. So everything is always happening for you. You are in the driver's seat. You have the power to change. Everything is in your choice, and you can step forward from that place. So I hope this little snippet was helpful for you. Let me know if you have any questions. Just put them in the comments. You can even send voice messages here, I saw, on Anchor, on Spotify, which is pretty cool. So feel free to do that. And pop over to my website if you're curious about the power method. And I will see you in the next episode.